I'm here today to talk to you more about the pelvic floor and how, as you're moving through rehabilitation of the pelvic floor issues, through your journey in progressing your pelvic floor, then really super important to move to integrate the body more dynamically and integrate other things in other areas. Check out the last video that we've got on pelvic floor. Go to our links in the bio if you're missing that video. But pelvic floor, if you've got any issues in your pelvic floor, then we do recommend that you go and see, first of all, a women's health physio. They'll be able to do a manual examination and give you a diagnosis of maybe why you've got the issue with the pelvic floor, because some people will have things like pain or leakage, symptoms that you might assume are resulting from a weak pelvic floor, but can actually be perhaps more of a dysfunctional overactive pelvic floor, i.e. we are always tightening it. Now that tightening might be something that you're not even conscious that you're doing, because we are a connected unit. When you connect your tummy muscles and pull them in all day, like often women do because they're feeling conscious about their bodies, many personal trainers hold their tummy muscles in all day, or you're somebody that's quite stressed out, running around a lot in life, and the breath muscle, the diaphragm, isn't moving up and down, then your abdominal wall, your diaphragm muscles can get stuck in this tension. And that tension will affect your pelvic floor and pull it up, keeping it in this kind of hypertonic state. So you may have the symptoms of weak pelvic floor, but actually it's because you are overactivating it constantly and not allowing it to relax. However, it could be because of a weakness, of course. Pelvic floor muscles should be designed to bounce and lift. Just like if you jump onto a trampoline, you should bounce down. The trampoline bounces with you and you come back up again. If things are too tight, then when you bounce, there's no downward relaxation force. If things are too weak, then they go down, but they don't pull up. But both can result in back pain, hip pain, feeling weak in the tummy muscles, leakage, bladder dysfunction, bowel dysfunction, and things like that. So get a diagnosis first to know which way you are, because of course, if you are actively too tight, you don't want to be thinking about overly stimulating that tightness, but working on breathing techniques, working on relaxation, working on stretching the pelvic floor. If it's the other way, of course, you need to think about connecting and lifting. Happily, our pelvic floor courses are designed to help you be a little bit with both. So maybe you don't have a diagnosis, maybe you're not quite sure, but you want to have a bit of help and support for both. The pelvic floor courses that we run are 5 weeks. They're online and in studio in Hitchin, and they're designed to help you release things, restore how your bones need to sit, because when things are being pulled by muscle tightness or fascia connections, then the bones can move around too. So we release things that are perhaps too tight, we restore how our alignment should be coming from the pelvis and all the bones that sit into that place. And then we start to think about lengthening out plus strengthening up. It's a general program that will help you with any pelvic floor issues. Now here's the next big caveat. When you're working in a restorative way for your pelvic floor, so you've got issues, you're aware that you've got bladder leakage and some issues that you might need some help with, you may find that 5 sessions is not enough. That's why you need to just repeat some more pelvic floor specific work, or come and see us for one-to-ones. And that again can be done online or in studio. However, as your journey starts to progress, then you need to start taking that pelvic floor and integrating it more into everything else, because you are doing that outside in life, but we need to be really mindful of what's the best thing to do, what's the best thing to work on. If you've looked at the last video, we talk about the feet and how they're connected. It's what we bang on about all the time in Pilates. You are a connected unit. Men, that's you too. You have pelvic floor muscles. They are the things that are responsible, yes, for your bladder and bowel control, but they're also responsible for your erections. So listen up. We are a connected unit. So when you are strengthening the core area of your feet, the arches of your feet, as opposed to having these flat arches, collapsed arches, you are strengthening the pelvic floor muscles because they contract and work in the same way as the arches of the feet. So if I have this foot action here of making this curvature arch, I'm building the strength not only in the foot arch, but also in my pelvic floor arch and all the other arches that are around the rest of the body, of which you have a few more: diaphragm, throat, roof of the head. We do that position, not only specific foot exercises with things like foot and toe correctors, but all the time through all of our positions in Pilates. Every time you get on that reformer and you do the traditional footwork exercises, they are all help to strengthen and stretch and mobilize different parts of your feet in different positions. Now, the opposite, if you're trying to stretch out the fascia of the foot, flexing the ankle backwards, stretching the foot fascia here, of course, it's going to have a stretching effect on your pelvic floor. And we do that all the time in Pilates too. You don't even know how brilliant Pilates is, but it is connecting your entire body. So no more of these leg days, no more of these arm days. We are not independent body parts, people. We are connected units. And my goodness me, your body will thank you for thinking about that. Thank you for listening.